Hello my dear viewers, welcome to Living Holland channel and to yet another update about the From Pueblo to Pueblo tour. At the moment I'm in Mexico City and in my hotel room overlooking the city while I am doing this video for you guys, which is full of snippets and moments of our motorcycle trip that we take through Mexico from Cancun to La Paz, 5,500 kilometers. Right through the heart of Mexico. No toll roads. We try to avoid them as much as possible. We do the libres or we do roads like you see here in the video. So it has been an amazing trip so far with ups and downs, literally and figurative speaking. I mean, we drive through a country that is severely touched by COVID. We are in cities where the city center is nearly empty because all the shops are closed and gone. Only the huge companies that you find in every city are still open, but the little local stores, most of them are closed. I mean, it is devastating to see. It also kind of makes our trip a little bit dull. I mean, we do see hefty things like this truck and stuff like that, but if it comes to getting in touch with the culture and stuff like that, COVID is really putting a mark on this road trip because we are not free enough to move. The people have cancelled most of the fiestas. A lot of tourist sites are closed and restaurants and shops have disappeared. So it is a bit difficult for us to find our way through this country that is suffering so much under COVID, and also meeting our own goals of wanting to see the real Mexico. We have seen amazing villages, we've seen amazing views so far. We've been in different circumstances where sometimes we thought maybe it's wise if we move on, maybe it's nice to stay a little longer. And that's the fun part of our trip. We are flexible. We can stay as long as we like or as short as we want, whatever. So we have been kind of zigzagging through the country. We went up from Cancun to Mérida and then Campeche, and then we went all the way down to Chiapas, and then we went back up again. I'm sorry if you hear this incidental cough. I have a throat irritation that makes it a bit difficult to speak, but I need to do this vlog because we're leaving Mexico City in a day or so, and I won't have time to do it after that. So we went all the way from like Campeche down to Chiapas, then all the way up again through the mountains to Veracruz, Córdoba, Orizaba, and then down again to Puebla, Cuernavaca, Mexico City. And from here we will take a little detour. We found some places we still want to visit, so we will stay a little longer on the road because of some little villages that we didn't want to miss out. So we will be going from here, we will be going kind of like to the north and then divert again to the south in the direction of Puerto Vallarta. But you will see that in the next update where we are and how we are doing. Like I said before, we're very flexible. We've run into some checkpoints and we've run into some police patrols and some other sometimes weird stuff, but most of it, our trip has been very friendly, very accommodating, and we haven't encountered a lot of trouble or dangerous moments. I think we had one or two moments where we scratched our heads afterwards and said, what the fuck was happening here? But for most of the time we have been treated very well by the people and the local government and police force.
Bueno.
No, money means.
Ahí no había bronca. Únicamente pagar la multa. Aquí tiene, mira.
Ok, muchas
gracias. Que le vaya muy bien y váyase con cuidado.
Gracias,
sí, porque hay muchas curvas, ¿eh?
Oh, ze doen een controle, want er is een conflict. Of zo. En hij wenst ons verder een goede reis. As you saw in this clip, one of the checkpoints we had where they explained to us that there were some local disagreements and some stuff going on, and they were just checking on people to make sure that the peace was maintained in the area. We've also had some horrible roads. I mean, one moment we were driving and the road just got worse and worse, as you can see here, and we weren't sure if we'd taken the right road. There were two, and we had to make a decision, so we took one, and obviously, as you can see here, that was one that would take a lot of time, and this is not even the worst part of it. The road gets worse and worse and worse along the trip, and there were areas where the road was falling away, and at the end there was like half a mountain on the road, so we kind of stopped and checked to see if we could pass there, and then a taxi overtook us and they tried to pass and they just slided away in the direction of the depth of the ravine. So we decided to turn back. That was a horrible trip, by the way, because we had to do 160 kilometers extra because we had to turn back, and then my headlight broke, and we arrived so late and I was so tired. But sometimes you have these little fun encounters. Look at this, what's coming up now. Now that was cute, wasn't it? The fun thing is that they never left the shop. They just sat there welcoming guests and saying goodbye to guests, and it was really fun to have lunch there and be entertained by those cute little birds. We, like I said before, we don't do toll roads, so we see a lot of villages, and therefore we also have a lot of changes in the pavement, and sometimes we have no clue why our GPS is leading us in a direction like what we're doing here. I mean, why are we? But then the GPS says that's the route, so we take the route, only to find out that we could have taken another turn and a much easier road. So we still struggle a little bit with our gear and the GPS. Sometimes it doesn't know roads. Not all the roads in Mexico obviously are mapped, and we sometimes travel roads that don't exist, and sometimes we have roads that we think, why do we go here? I mean, why don't we just follow? But then on the other hand, if we try to outsmart our GPS, we end up in the wrong area, so we sometimes just kind of follow it, and then we discover that we just end up on the same road after all. So I have no idea how that is working. I'm not involved in the GPS thing at all. It's my son Arnan. He makes all the routes, all plans, all the travel we do. I just tell him I want to see this, I want to see that, and he just makes the GPS routes for us. But that sometimes brings you in hilarious situations like here where we have no idea why we are on this road and we have no clue where we are heading, also only to end up back on the normal road again. And I have no idea why our GPS just sent us through the back roads of the village. We could have taken this one, would have been much shorter and easier. Okay, we see less if we do that, so the only advantage is that you see the back alleys of a village. Not always a fun thing to do, by the way, to see back alleys and back roads, because one time we were driving and this group of men would walk into the road. Oh, do you see the cowboys? Did you see them? Well, this group of men would walk up in the road and try to stop us, and it felt odd, so my son, he just drove off and told me to keep going and not stop, and they tried to grab me and pull me off the bike. That is one of those moments I talked about before where we afterwards we scratch our head and we said, what the fuck happened there? Because that was not normal behavior. I think these people tried to rob us or something, but we got away, and it doesn't do much harm, but it makes you a little bit more cautious of where you are and where you ride. And we always drive on our gut feeling, and sometimes our gut feeling tells us to go away. In this incident, our gut feeling told us to go away a little before that, but we kept going, and we should have listened to our gut feeling. That would have avoided this incident with this group of men. Still, no harm was done. We also have these little fun encounters when we walk a city and we see kids feeding coatis, and more coatis keep coming. They're even baby coatis. They always make me giggle. They're so much fun. It's nice to see things like this. You can see they're coming over the green fence. There's lots and lots of them coming to get their share of whatever these kids were feeding them. You see? And then we've done our share of touristic things as well. Some great canyon visits.
tengo Pepsi.
Yeah. Like I said before, the weather conditions have changed. We went from sunny moments like here in Progreso to extreme rain like you saw just before the break, and to foggy cold weather that wanted me to put on layer after layer after layer. Here I'm just so cold, and my motor jacket has a lot of mesh. I just keep putting on layers. I think this is the 4th layer. And then the motor jacket on again. And I still was cold after that, after all the layers, because this is the plateau I was talking about before. We were at nearly 4,000 meter high, and it was so cold, so extremely cold. After we went down, we stopped at an OXXO to get some hot chocolate because my fingers were numb. My feet were, my toes were so cold I could hardly feel them anymore. And these rides take so much of your energy because here you can still see a bit, but the fog gets thicker and thicker, and traffic comes up, overtakes, and sometimes doesn't even have headlights on. So you're so focused on the road and on how to drive and what's approaching you. But also this road has lines that it's easy to follow the line. But we've done this on roads that had hardly any visible lines, and then it takes a lot of your energy. And of course our fair share of unpaved roads as well. It comes with riding in Mexico. I remember one road we did, it was like 50 meters asphalt, 50 meters of unpaved, 50 meters of asphalt, 50 meters of unpaved. And in front of us was this big truck, and every time where there was an unpaved area, they would open the water and it would spray like a huge fountain of water. So we couldn't get too close, otherwise we would be soaked. I'm getting more comfortable with the off-road, but and the unpaved roads. But I must say that most of our roads were actually pretty good, and I'm amazed about the quality of the roads in Mexico. Sometimes we stop and we do some touristic things, and I talk to the local people, or we just indulge ourselves in local culture, like here where I talk to some women. Ustedes van preparando comida, ¿sí?
¿Comida?
¿Sí? ¿Está preparando? No, ¿qué tipo de comida?
Tenemos mojarra frita,
Ajá.
de agua y carne asada.
Ok. Muy bien. Mucho trabajo, ¿no? I always say like, mucho trabajo and blah blah, but I still don't know what she's cooking. I mean, it looked like a kind of a tamale, but I have no idea. If it was a tamale, it was a pretty basic one. It was maize dough with bean paste, and then they kind of cooked it or something like that. I try to do all that, you know, contact with the locals, because I'm curious. I always want to know, but most of the time they talk back and I just have this blank stare. I don't understand, because there's so many dialects and some of them speak so heavily Spanish, so fast, that it's hard for me to understand what they're saying. But my Spanish is improving, as are my road skills. Let's see some cultural stuff, what we did on the trip.
otra en el mundo entero. Mi tierra tiene canciones, mujeres.
It breaks my heart to see people pray like this to God for better times, and Mexico is severely influenced in a negative way by COVID. And although for me it's always time to leave again and move to the next city, some moments I carry in my heart and I will not forget because they make an impression. So if you want to see more of this road trip, please do subscribe to the channel and click the bell sign so you won't miss out. And then rest me to thank you for watching and see you next time on Living Holland channel. Bye bye.